Welcome, you beautiful and messy human. This is Earth Sun Human, and I am your human design translator, Isa Silver. This week, I'm exploring the creative tension between abundance and intimacy. And that's because the sun is in the gate of emotional spirit called abundance, programming humanity to have an individual point of view about whether the cup is half full or half empty. Now, your tribe or your collective might try to condition you about how to interpret the cup, but at the base of it, it's an individual spirit that sees it half full. And by the way, this spirit of seeing it this way is not consistent. This is in the emotional center. Everything in the emotional center is in a wave. The awareness goes up and down. The cup is half full at noon and it seems half empty 3 or 4 hours later. So there's a deep emotional ocean here, but when that spirit is really there, when you really feel the cup is it's partly full. That's you. That's your spirit. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. Now, on the other side of this, we have the earth in the gate of intimacy or sexuality, or we could even just say penetration. This is a life force response to the emotional wave to get into into that emotionality, to fertilize the other, literally and metaphorically. So let's go a little deeper into the emotional ocean of abundance. The foundation is cooperation with powerful forces. Now, powerful forces beyond the individual, because this is individual spirit. But in order to maintain that spirit, alliance with more powerful forces beyond your mere individuality is the foundation. The natural expression of abundance is trust, mutual trust. Mutual trust, there is a cup, it is half full. Now, in the third line frequency, the innocence here, there is a potential for a lot of discomfort because here the spirit is meeting the provocation and then finding out, maybe most of the time, that there's failure, that the spirit isn't maintained. So to cope with failure in innocence. Now, the externalizing of abundance, we could call it balance, emotional awareness and energy in balance. This is a thing about the emotional center. It is both an energy center to make things happen and also a potential maybe awareness of what's really going on. But emotional awareness is, well, say underdeveloped in humanity. What does the collective want to see from the savior of abundance? Assimilation, emotional strength that derives from a position of influence. Remember that the first line was the individual learning to cooperate with more powerful forces. And here, the more powerful force, well, it's in the position that one is assumed to have. And what about the role model of abundance who's kind of over it, but is seeing the whole individual circuit, all of that energy that mutates and makes new things in humanity? The sixth line can see real wealth and individual spirit are dependent on each other. On the shadow side here, there's a self-interested spirit that makes materialism become obsessive, not sharing the material. But Saturn on the bright side brings us the emotional awareness that material abundance and spirit are interdependent. You can find the spirit through materialism. Now, this is pretty contrary to some teachings, which would suggest that materialism is what takes you away from being individual, it's what takes you away from being spiritual. But what we're talking about here is that material abundance supports individual spirit. It's really hard to have a good spirit when you're hungry. Is there enough food? Are the shoes fitting? Is there enough warmth? Material support for the body supports the spirit that sees the cup as half full. Now, the yin yang balance to that individual responsibility for spirit is the union potential in the gate of intimacy. The power of intimacy, regardless of conditions, is the potential here. And this is going to be a big theme in the next global cycle, as will the individual responsibility. But here we're talking about intimacy that isn't about a bargain. It's not about the deal around the sex or the procreation or the new business or whatever. This is in the moment, being in the other. And well, the fifth line, seduction. This is what the most sexy line in human design, perhaps. The femme fatale or Casanova line, according to Ra. It's the power of sexuality to attract other people. Now, this can be used to make new things happen, to establish intimacy, to break down barriers, to create something new through energy together. But there's also the power of seduction to, well, just have adventures with other people and to not endure in any kind of bonding. Now, the fourth line would like to really be friends. The power for non-sexual closeness and intimacy is here. And yeah, true friendship is really powerful. But, the fourth line has its two sides, and, well, it might not always be friendship. The third line here is going to have trials and errors with intimacy. And potentially can be healthy through finding a balance that is openness to becoming intimate. But on the dark side, it's going to look like promiscuity. And then there's the second line. The natural at intimacy is shy. Shyness behind self-imposed walls, which means that, well, there'll be a lot of hiding out, and also potentially, well, there'll be a lot of hiding out because instability occurs through intimacy. Children result, things happen, intimacy changes things. So why not be shy about it? Why not put up barriers and prevent that kind of thing from happening? The first line, the foundation of intimacy, conquest. The vitality to tear down walls, to get into the other human. We get into the other human in order to make more humans, in order to make more humanity in the metaphorical sense. But what it takes is it takes some energy to get in there, to get over the emotional barriers, the power and vitality to conquer and eliminate resistance, creating fertile connections. So, have you ever thought about this before? I certainly didn't. It really helped me to take this in, that getting into other people and being intimate is the opposite of your own individual spirit. But it's not that they are antagonistic to each other. They actually keep each other in balance in the wheel. And in that balanced wheel, life keeps rolling around. And for the babies born this week, they have this in their personality, Sun Earth. They live this polarity in their daily lives. And all of us experience the spirit and the intimacy in our different ways through our openness and through other people and through these transits. If you'd like to talk more about intimacy and individual spirit, this month, relationship and relating analysis is 50% off with this coupon code, and you can find me here about that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for working on your own emotional spirit, and may you see the cup half full.